And a good morning to you on this Wednesday morning. I'm Art Lewis. Nice to have you with us. Later on, after the 10 o'clock news, we're going to talk to a former Detroit Lions player. He's going to be in town, I believe, this Saturday at the Sawmill. And his name is Jeff Chadwick. And at 11 o'clock, we'll learn about the Bay City Commission on Aging and an Olympics coming up for seniors. But for this hour, we're going to talk to a guy I've been looking forward to talking to. To say that he's been on a buying spree in this area might be conservative. He has bought some well-known properties, and we're going to talk about it this morning with Jordan Dice, who owns the Midland Mall, St. Laurent Brothers, the State Theater in Bay City, and the Court Street Theater in Saginaw. And we say good morning to Jordan.
Good morning, Art.
Good to see you again, because he reminded me, when did we meet?
I believe about 98, 99, when I was about 8, 9 years old, and you were covering the walkathons at the Hampton Mall.
Oh, my goodness, boy.
Yeah.
That brings back memories.
It does.
So, Jordan, I have to ask, first of all, before we get into the things you've purchased and what you're doing with them, what's your background? What got you into that? What'd you study?
Well, I started at a very young age. I dropped out of school. My last completed grade was the 7th grade, so I never made it to high school. I went straight to Delta College. And
well, time out.
Yeah.
How'd you do that without a high school diploma?
I was considered dual enrollment as homeschooled, but I wasn't really being homeschooled. I just went to Delta.
Well, okay, it works.
It did.
That's interesting. So you went to Delta. What'd you study?
I started studying computer science, particularly in programming, but then I decided I couldn't sit still long enough to sit there and do coding on a computer all day long. So I transitioned into network technology and studied computer networks and like building the internet and things like that. That was more active for me. And then when classes became hard to get into to complete my degree, I started working on another degree, which was my accounting degree, which I consider to be the most useful in business because learning numbers and such is very important to keep a balanced budget and run a profitable business.
Which I find interesting because you have purchased some things which many people would say, well, how do you make those profitable?
This is true. Yeah.
So let's talk about that a little bit in terms of the first one you bought was the Midland Mall, if I'm not mistaken, right?
That is correct. And
why?
Well, it appeared to be an interesting opportunity to me. I sort of knew that there would be nobody else local bidding on it. It's always these large out-of-state investment companies that buy big properties like that up. So I knew that I would bring something different to the table and potentially acquiring that. And I looked at all the other malls throughout mid-Michigan, and I determined Midland had several key advantages, particularly, it was the newest. It was the last built mall, so there's not as many building challenges there. It had some substantial renovations done to it in the last decade that I inherited through that process. And it doesn't have as many competing strip malls as a lot of the other malls do, so it keeps relevancy to the mall and is easier to hold on to some of those national store chains that don't really have another place to go. Yeah.
But even at that, it was a distressed mall.
It was, yeah. It was certainly headed in that direction. It would have got a lot worse, I think, these last couple of years. Yeah.
So, sorry about that. I have the same problem everybody else does. I don't turn my phone off. So you acquire the mall. Was it everything you thought it would be? I mean, had you done your research? Did you get into the nitty-gritty before you put that bid in?
I did. Luckily, through the auction process, they made quite a bit of documents available. There was thousands of pages worth of leases and property documents to review. So I went through that information, tried to learn as much as I could about it before bidding on it, and I would say there was, no big surprises, but certainly a lot to learn along the way. I mean, I've never owned a property that big. The systems there are just complex. There's so much complexity to a building of that size, so there's been a lot to learn.
You said you never owned a property that big. Had you owned previous properties?
Yeah, normal size properties, yeah.
What's normal? For a guy that owns a mall, what's normal?
Like, 10 to 20,000 square foot, not 500,000 square foot.
Commercial properties?
Yeah.
So you had been in commercial properties.
Yes.
This wasn't new to you.
No, it wasn't. I had, had a couple properties before this, including my original property that is my office and was a cool venue for me that I still have. So yeah, but I mean, it was normal sized properties, nothing this large. This was quite a bit of an upgrade.
Okay, so we'll come back to the mall. Okay. Next in line, we have the greatest peanut and candy shop in the world. St. Laurent Brothers sits in Bay City. The owners decide it's time to sell, and there was fear it was going to close, really, literally.
Yes.
Along comes Jordan Dice. Why? Same question.
Well, I seen it as another interesting opportunity, and actually a lot of people don't know, but I was starting to work on that deal before the mall came around. So I started.
Is that right?
Yes, I started looking at St. Laurent Brothers in January, and then I think the auction of the mall was announced in February, and I wasn't sure if the deal with St. Laurent Brothers was going to happen. There was some tough points in negotiation through that deal. So then my attention, became on the mall, and I obviously made that happen. And then the St. Laurent deal came through a few months after the mall deal happened.
And there you were with this beautiful peanut and candy shop.
Yes.
Which, fortunately, you decided to keep open, obviously.
Absolutely, yes.
Because it's an icon.
It is. I mean, 120 years. Luckily, I was the owner on its 120th anniversary. That was December 8th last year, so that was pretty cool. Yeah.
Okay, so now, moving right along, there's this theater with a Mayan concept in Bay City. Runs into problems, which we all know. As a matter of fact, they've been in the news this week. And along comes Jordan Dice again. Why?
It was another good opportunity. These opportunities keep finding me, so I thought, well, why not acquire a theater now? And I thought it just sort of all goes together, It's all of these things are focused around, entertainment, deep values in the community. They, promote family, bringing people together. I think there's been quite a trend since COVID that we've seen people don't want to isolate. They actually want to be socially active and go places and do things. So I think the timing was right. It just seemed to fit a theme that I had going in my mind.
And we'll strip all these down individually and find out what's happening with all of them. There is one more, but I have to take a break first. And we will come back. We're talking to Jordan Dice, who owns multiple facilities in the Great Lakes Bay region. Let me talk about Quick Lane Freeland next to McDonald Ford. It's been a tough year for people with allergies. If you have them, you know what I'm talking about from the spring to the summer. Well, Quick Lane realizes that too, and they want to keep you healthy while you're driving. And they have a product that's injected into your air conditioning system called FrigiFresh. Here's John from Quick Lane to tell you all about it.
FrigiFresh. Hi.
Back with you on the Art Lewis Show. In studio with me, Jordan Dice, who owns the Midland Mall, St. Laurent Brothers, State Theater, and I mentioned before the break one other because recently he has acquired the Court Street Theater in Saginaw.
Yes.
So now that we've got all four properties, that's all the properties you have that you're operating right now, right? Or are there more?
Well, previous to the mall, I mean, I had my tech businesses and my original property that was a cool little rooftop venue and such. Yeah, I have.
You still have a tech business?
Yes.
So
yeah.
is he doing internet installation and?
Mostly focused on like mission critical stuff, like security companies, call centers, places that do like millions of calls and
oh wow, so
rely
the big
on
stuff.
Yeah.
Where do you find the time?
Organization is key, and having a plan each day and just using every hour as wisely as you can. I think a lot of people burn unnecessary time and don't realize it. So just using each hour of the day as effectively as I can.
So you're focused.
Yes.
It's a good word.
Yeah, not always focused. Sometimes I get a little scatterbrained with it all, but I tend to reel myself back in pretty quickly. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So let's work backwards as to what we're doing. So we'll start with the Court Street Theater because that's the most recent acquisition.
Yes.
And not much happening there yet.
Not yet. I plan to have it reopen hopefully by 2026, early 26. We just the biggest thing we got to do there is put a new roof on. Its
is
roof
that right?
is pretty old. Yeah, it's starting to leak. But the former owner did a lot of renovations to it, so everything else is pretty good there.
Yeah, he did a lot.
He did.
And he and his wife. And
yes.
It's an interesting place. I mean, it's a quaint little 300, 400 seat theater.
Yeah, 401.
401, with the balcony, that's right.
Absolutely.
So eventually it comes back to life.
Yes.
All right. So now we go to the other theater, the State Theater, and we know that's come back to life.
Yes, I reopened that in October of last year, so I'm nearing my first year of operation with it.
But are you operating it, or you have management types, or you have folks in there?
No, I'm currently quite literally operating. I have some part-time help from St. Laurent Brothers. They run the concession stand, and I had a very ambitious high school student that now went off to college, and he was helping me run the sound and lighting system.
Booking the acts?
Yeah, I do all the booking and negotiating and planning and.
Well, I suspect, Jordan, that you really like the negotiating.
I do, yes.
I really suspect that's the case with you.
Absolutely, yeah.
But now you're dealing in a world that, I mean, you didn't exist in.
No.
Entertainment world and booking and all of that.
I mean, all of this has been new to me. I didn't have any experience in peanut butter and chocolate either, or malls or any of it. It's all been new.
So the theater is functional. I mean, it really is up and doing, and it's doing a lot of the same things it did.
Yeah, it
kept
is.
The tone.
In fact, I just concluded my 47th event there since reopening, so I'm on track to hit 50 events for my first year.
What are they? Do you know what's coming up? Offhand?
Yeah, we later this fall we'll have all of the holiday events that we typically have.
Kevin Cole will be back on stage.
Absolutely, Kevin Cole every year. That's a good seller. Rob Little every January or February. This year I think it's early February. Those are our top sellers. We had Paula Poundstone was a national act. She was in earlier this year. That sold pretty well. But our biggest show so far has actually been Lion King Jr. put on by the Bay City Academy. We sold over 1,000 tickets to that show. So we had to split it into multiple nights.
I was going to say, because it's only a 400 and some odd
theater is almost 600, 568 seats.
Is it that many?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah. And I think it's important to note as well that we really only have 3 historic theaters left. I now own 2 of them. Other than the 2 we've talked about, Temple Theater, and that's really it for old theaters. All of the other ones are long gone now.
And it's pretty solid in its stature right now. The Temple. We had Tony Serra is the new executive of the Temple Arts Organization, which is the art museum and the Temple Theater.
Yes,
it's nice to have. I mean, it all adds to the quality of life.
It does. For sure.
Every bit of it. All right. So moving backwards, now you find yourself a peanut and chocolate guy, which you knew nothing about going in, which seems to be the case of most everything you've purchased.
Yes.
What was that like going into the St. Laurent business because another icon. I mean, you're buying all these icons.
Yeah, I mean, the first couple weeks, I'll admit, was a little intimidating. In fact, I think that's probably the hardest business out of the ones I've acquired, just because, you know, there's so many moving parts. We're not just selling those products, we're manufacturing them.
I was going to say, you're making them.
Yeah, and we're using all the old equipment. The newest piece of equipment we have is from the 1970s. Everything else is 40s, 50s equipment or even older. We still have the original roaster that the brothers started the business on in 1904. We don't run that particular one anymore, but it's there. And, yeah, there's just a lot of detail in that business, and the holiday seasons are very busy. Like during the Christmas season, half of the company's entire sales happen in November and December, and then the other half happen the other 10 months. So it's a real crazy time through the holiday season to, manage the amount of volume and staff that we have to get through that.
So let me ask this. You mentioned you had started to put that deal together before the Midland Mall came along.
Yes.
How much research do you do? I mean, you mentioned the sales figures were 10 months are half and 2 months are the other half.
Yes.
How much of that did you know going in?
Well, I always start with the numbers, of course. So, in all of these deals, I requested financial statements and a fair amount of detail with those statements. And then I just, put numbers side by side, start analyzing. I wanted to make sure I wasn't getting into something that was a losing battle to begin with. These deals had to at least be break even to start with, and then I knew I could add value. But cost cutting is important. In all of these deals, I saw opportunity to cut cost or be more intelligent about how we spend. So they all appeared at least profitable enough to me to get started with it and grow it from there. And obviously with St. Laurent Brothers, we've expanded the business, adding the Midland store. It has a store now in the Midland Mall. And it's
everybody knew that was going to happen.
Yeah.
It was logical.
Yeah, no, that was a no-brainer. I mean, having the mall space and having some open spaces, I picked out that space right away where I thought it would be a best fit. And then it became the concession stand at the theater as well. So we've expanded the store presence, and we want to grow the wholesale business some more. Back in the day, it was much larger in wholesale than it was in retail, and the wholesale business over time sort of dwindled down some. But we still have a fair amount of wholesale business. So, yeah.
So you are an entrepreneur at heart.
Yes.
In every way, shape, and form.
Yes, absolutely.
Wow. So the biggie, the Midland Mall, you walk into a mall which realistically is probably distressed, but not as distressed as everybody else's malls.
I would agree, yeah.
But you had openings. You had a lot of openings. How have you done in filling the vacancies?
Since my time in owning it, we've brought over a dozen new tenants. We've doubled the size of the food court. When I got there was only 3, I believe, in the food court. We now have 6. We have another one currently pending opening that's working on their space, and 2 more firm prospects in the hopper. So if that happens, then we'll be 100%. We'll have a fully occupied food court at that point. So I would say most of the improvements have happened on that side of the mall. But we've put in a couple other stores, like the jewelry store, the hair loft. We didn't have a hair salon. We didn't have a jeweler, so those have been added. Obviously, the St. Laurent Brothers store has been added. We have a new local brand clothing store that went in the former GameStop space. And also a pretty cool cafe right outside of Target. They started in freeze-dried candy, and then they grew into pretty much a lot of different Michigan products, as well as a cafe where they prepare hot food and serve at lunchtime. So that's been an interesting addition. Toy store has expanded. TNT Toys expanded into the suite next to them and doubled their size. So there's been some growth as well. We really only have a handful of vacant spaces. We're like 90% occupied, which is pretty unique for a mall these days.
I know one of your occupants advertised with us, Applied Training Solutions.
Yes.
Been in there a long time.
They have, yeah.
I'm I'm amazed because I hear you talking, and I'm saying to myself, well, wait a minute, there's only 24 hours in a day, and you got to sleep sometime. Are you doing the bookings? Are you doing the realty side of the mall? Are you doing the
So I do have an operations manager at the mall that she started out in managing the maintenance team and has a lot of construction skills. She's a really good welder as well, and then she sort of branched into the more of the operational side. So she will do a fair amount of the lease work. Of course, all the deals are brought to me to review, and I may get involved in negotiations if I need to.
Of course.
And so that
magic word.
Yeah, absolutely. So that helps in having, both with St. Laurent Brothers and the mall, I do have some management in place there. So I'm just, overseeing those operations or being involved in the visionary pieces of it or the executive side of things. Whereas with the theater, I'm quite literally running that right now. But as we get busier, I'll look for an executive director.
So, just out of curiosity, with these 4 properties, well, let's just say 3 because the Court Theater is not operating yet.
Yeah.
Have they done what you expected them to do? Any surprises?
No big surprises. I mean, if anything, the mall's done better than I thought. I didn't really know getting into that how much support I would have from the community, and the community support has been phenomenal. So that's helped a lot. And I think the community believes in the mall again because they know it's got a local owner that cares about it and is there regularly. So I think the mall has done better than I would have expected it, knowing the challenge of malls. And, St. Laurent Brothers, I think, has went really well. Certainly expanding and opening a new store within the first year, that's quite a challenge because I was literally taking over a business, having to learn it, restructure the business. I had to replace the former owners. The former owners were the operators. They were the managers. So I had to, hire replacements for owners, which that has not been easy. And we've went through a few different eras of management because, they knew the business like the back of their hand. They had been doing it for 38 years. So that, that was a challenge and then trying to open a new store on top of it. So I would say it's went pretty well because we were certainly at risk for a bigger failure along the way, and we really didn't experience any big failure. So.
All right, we're going to take a break, come back. We're talking to Jordan Dice. More ahead here on WSGW.
The Poco Community Credit.
And we're back with you here on the Art Lewis Show. In studio with me, Jordan Dice, owner of the Midland Mall, St. Laurent Brothers, State Theater, Court Street Theater. And what's next? I just have a feeling you're not done.
Hopefully nothing for the next year. I think I got to catch up a little bit with everything I have going, and especially with some of the projects we've taken on, such as the Multopia project at the Midland Mall. That's going to be the new 5-story kids play place. Yeah, so that was an idea I had since the beginning of acquiring the mall. I thought with the high ceilings, that goes up about 40 foot there in the center, I thought, well, there could be some pretty interesting uses of that ceiling space. So I envisioned having a new kids play area that would go up a number of levels, and then ultimately we got that design together. And it's pretty customized. We started with a template that was a 3-story play place that was quite rectangular in shape. And
have you seen this elsewhere?
In the south part of the state, yeah, I went and visited a few of the big play centers, like in the Detroit area and that. But most of them are 2- and 3-story, and I thought, well, we have a lot more ceiling space there at the mall. Let's go up another story or two. So it was designed and came as a 4-story play place, and then we added a small 5th level sort of on the fly as we were building it. And I think it'll be a one-of-a-kind. It'll certainly be Michigan's tallest indoor playground. I don't think anything else goes up quite that high.
And when will that be done?
Well, we had thought we would be done with it by now, but I think we've all gotten a reality check, me and the team that are working on it, on just how much work that takes. It's the size and square footage that some of the largest homes are in the area, so it's a lot of work. The structure is done. The structure is there. It's been all of the netting and pipe foam that we've been working on for the last couple months, but I think we're getting closer, and certainly aiming to have this fully operational for the holiday season.
And it's an assumed liability, isn't it?
It is, yeah. There's definitely some risk involved, yeah.
So when it's open, how will it be used?
Well, it'll be for age groups like 4 through 12, and then we took the existing play area that had existed there and reformed that into like a toddler section, so like 0 through 3, and in that area, so that's still to the side of the new play area. But it can hold 100+ children. I mean, it's a pretty good size. So I think it'll bring a lot of families and, of course, the kids in, and I think it'll significantly help the food court because they're going to get hungry and they're going to want to eat, and I think there'll be more shopping involved.
You anticipated my next question is, how do you get the return on investment?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really do that project for a return. I mean, I'm quite literally, spending 6 figures just to do something really cool. But I do think over time, long term, I think it will actually pay for itself because the mall gets percentage rent from its tenants. So if we bring more business to our tenants, then the mall gets a bigger share of the sales they're getting, which quite literally translates into rent. But I didn't really do it for that purpose in mind. The purpose was I wanted to bring more relevancy to the mall, and I wanted to make something available that all families of any income class could appreciate, because it'll quite literally be free. And
wow,
yeah, most times you'd have to probably pay $15-20
so
a head
it's
to
the
get
secondary spending.
Yes.
That'll help pay for it in the long run.
Absolutely, yeah.
Interesting concept.
Yeah. And since it's so large and complex, if they can't get their kids out of there, they'll just spend more time at the mall, eat more, and shop more.
You got it figured out, haven't you?
Yeah.
And in terms of future projects, I know you said, it's, the year is going to go by before you do anything else.
Yeah.
Have you got wants? Are there things that you really would like to have in your portfolio?
I mean, certainly anything else that fits this theme, anything that's iconic, pillar of the community, things that the community families enjoy, bring people together. I mean, if it fits that theme,
that really is.
I'm certainly open-minded.
How about geographically?
I think I'd stay pretty focused to the Tri-Cities. I don't see much reason to go out of that right now. I mean, I already have quite a bit of driving I have to do between Bay City, Saginaw, and Midland. I don't think if I drive to all of the properties in a single day, that's like 2 hours of driving. So I don't think I want to add much more driving I need to do and making rounds. So, yeah.
Eventually, you're going to have some operations people.
Yeah. Definitely already have that at St. Laurent and the mall as well. As once I get this other theater open, the Court Street, I'll have to get somebody to be the executive director of the theaters, because it definitely takes some hours doing all the booking and the planning and the logistics, because the theater business is unique in its own way in that we open our doors and within 30 minutes we got to take 500 people in. We got to sell them tickets, scan their tickets, get them concessions, get them seated, start the show. So it's a huge burst of traffic, and it's challenging to deal with that many people. And of course we tell them to come earlier, not so close to the show, but they all stampede. Yeah, they all stampede there in the last 20-30 minutes before show, and that's a lot of people to process in a short amount of time. Yeah.
One more break, and then we'll be back with Jordan Dice.
We're proud to make.
And back with you, one final segment with Jordan Dice. He is the owner of the Midland Mall, the State Theater, St. Laurent Brothers, and the Court Street Theater in Saginaw. I want to go back to St. Laurent Brothers for a bit, because that company is probably the oldest of everything you bought.
Yes, absolutely.
And has a long history. Was it difficult to go in there and figure out how you're going to maintain the history of that icon, yet at the same time make it work?
Yeah, and that's a continuing challenge. I mean, there are definitely some challenges with the building and the structure that we're addressing there currently.
It's been there a while.
Yeah, absolutely, and it will take certainly a lot of work over the next couple decades to keep that building preserved and in